Hello and welcome to the Spring Challenge, hosted by Sabrina from Sab's Rehabs. You definitely want to check out Sabrina's channel, Sab's Rehabs. I'll have the link in the description box, as well as the link to the entire playlist for this collaboration. I love when we get together and do these challenges. It's so much fun. So get your popcorn and watch everybody's videos. My project started with this 70s dresser, and as you'll notice, there's a little bird on there. That was also probably a product of the 70s, a home interior bird that I picked up at a flea market. There's a pair of them, and I attached them onto the dresser front, and I have plans to make them part of my design. So I did do a thorough cleaning of the piece and attached those birds using some Titebond Thick and Quick. And here's what it looks like when the birds are on the piece awaiting their paint job. So for the paint, I've chosen to use Silk All-in-One Mineral Paint in Morning Sunrise, Desert Rose, and Conch. And then I'm also adding some Mermaid Tail from the Chalk Mineral Paint line. They might not seem to go together, but you'll see how they do in the end. So this piece is a custom. Even though it's for our spring challenge, it's already spoken for. It's for a little girl's room, and she has pinks and purples in her room, as well as that beautiful teal color that you see in the mermaid tail. So I, again, am using this silk paint, and I am using an oval medium brush. And I have found that I get a beautiful blend with this paint just using one brush and just blending this paint together. So I started on the bottom with the Desert Rose, and now I am adding the Morning Sunrise. And I am loving that color. Loving both of them together. I think they're beautiful. I'm going over the hardware and everything, and the birds, which was my plan. And now I'm adding that conch color. So I pull the drawers out to make sure that I'm getting around all those edges. And if I miss any drawer sides or anything, I will catch them later. You might see that and wonder if I missed a spot, but this kind of way of painting, you just kind of get everything eventually. And the beauty part of using the same brush throughout is that you don't have to worry about going back to reblend. So it's rather a quick process, but I think it gives a beautiful result. Next, I begin to apply some transfers. Note the placement of that group of flowers. They're kind of there so that it looks like the hummingbird is drinking from the nectar from the flowers. So that was my strategy on the placement. Notice I'm working around all these drawers. So that can be a little bit tricky. This particular transfer is called Buds and Branches. It's from the Bells and Whistles line of Dixie Belle, and it was inspired by Melissa from Top Drawer RVA. So you'll want to check out her channel as well. She's a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle. So I just kind of go through all those little spots and then burnish them down. And I like to do a little sandpaper over my transfers when I'm finished, and that kind of gives them sort of worn, time-worn look, and I like the way it looks. So working around all these spaces, trust me, I sped up the video. It was time consuming to do that. So some people like to cut the transfers, but I just kind of work around them and then do a sand afterwards. So now I am adding in that mermaid tail. I'm sort of doing a dry brush. I did it on the hummingbirds and on the hardware, and now I'm going over some of the details of the dresser, getting those end pieces and also those triple edges around the drawers. More mermaid tail goes on the sides of the dresser, where I've chosen to use the Harlequin stencil, also from Dixie Belle. And as you'll note, I am not going for full coverage on this. I'm sort of doing a dry brush on the stencil as well. So I'm just kind of supporting my elbow there and just doing a little shadowy kind of look on the sides of the stencil, just a little hint of the color instead of full coverage. When you move the stencil down, you want to make sure that you just match up those diamonds. And then when that's dry, I use some more transfers. I am overlapping a few to make sort of a corner bend there. You know, sometimes people think that it isn't your own art or not very creative to just put transfers on, or they call them stickers, which they're not. If you apply them properly, so you don't have a halo around them, which does make them look like a sticker, then also your placement is important. You know, there's unimaginative placement, and then there's, you know, other types of placement that really you can express yourself and show your art through the use of transfers. And I like to blend that with other things, like for instance the stencil. I loved also putting pops of color, the little elements of this transfer in unexpected places, like this little butterfly, or maybe he's a moth. But there were other cool insects in this as well. I had to keep in mind it was for a little girl, and I kept checking with her mom to make sure she wasn't afraid of any insects or anything that I added to it. So after I was done with those elements, I went over the entire piece with clear wax using a best dang brush. And then here's where I really had some fun, using chameleon waxes in apricot, cactus, and lilac. These waxes are a lot of fun. They're much like a gilding wax, and they're iridescent. So you can see the pop of color that they add. It's a very subtle look, but when you put it over different colors, then that's where the name comes from. They're a chameleon, so they kind of change based on the color that they are put on. So as you'll see when I continue working with the wax, how different areas look a lot different. So it's a really cool thing to work with. And if you think you might enjoy working with these, my link, of course, feel free to use my affiliate link in the description box, and you'll be able to take advantage of getting the chameleon waxes. Wow, did you just see what happened there when I put it that color on that mermaid tail? It just totally popped. So really cool effect, and I just love these. So anyway, you can grab some of your own using my affiliate link. Also in the description box is my Amazon wishlist link. So I appreciate your support using those two links. So as you can see, you can either use your fingertips to do this or you can use a brush. I found that I was able to get more into the detail areas with the brush. But isn't that just a cool effect? I just totally love it. So not only did I use it on the details and the raised areas, but I also had fun using it on the parts of the transfer that were colorless. So just a black line drawing, and I was able to add just a little delicate hint of color in those flowers just to give it a little iridescence as well. So remember where we started, that was our dresser. And take a look at it now. I did paint the insides with that 1776 print, and I just think that this dresser is full of surprises and beauty for especially the spring. So again, I hope you watch all of the videos in the playlist. Thanks for hosting, Sabrina. Here it is in this little girl's room, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like this video, how about giving it a thumbs up and also share it with your friends? If you haven't subscribed, you'll want to do that so you don't miss anything. Visit us at lavintagedecor.company, and on Instagram we're LaVintage Decor, and on Facebook we're LaVintage Decor Altoona. Stay well.